The PlayStation debuted in December 1994 and would go on to become one of the most influential consoles ever made. By the end of its life, it had sold over 100 million consoles worldwide and built a library of more than 2,400 titles, with nearly 1 billion games sold in total. The move to CD-based media opened the door for voice acting, expansive soundtracks, and pre-rendered cutscenes that gave games a cinematic quality players had never seen before. It was also the generation where 3D worlds took center stage, reshaping how developers approach design and storytelling. Genres of every kind flourished, from RPGs and fighters to racers, platformers, and sports titles, ensuring that there was something for everyone. Beyond its sales figures, the PlayStation helped bring gaming to the mainstream, transforming the hobby into a cultural force and a multi-billion-dollar industry. Today on Mike's Retro Gaming, we're taking a look at the top 10 highest rated games on the PlayStation according to Metacritic. Wipeout XL blasted onto the PlayStation in February 1996, cementing Psygnosis as masters of futuristic speed. The studio had already turned heads with Wipeout in 1995, a stylish but sometimes punishing racer that defined the console's early look, and with Destruction Derby, which wowed players with its chaotic car damage. With XL, Psygnosis delivered a faster and more refined sequel, an anti-gravity racer marked by its licensed electronic soundtrack and striking visual design. Its weapon and power-up systems drew comparisons to Mario Kart, though here, the arsenal was darker and more tactical, with rockets, shields, and plasma blasts defining the action. Widely praised at release, Wipeout XL earned a 93 on Metacritic and was a game that transformed Wipeout from a stylish experiment into a lasting PlayStation franchise. When it released in October 1997, Symphony of the Night redefined what Castlevania could be. Its legendary opening cutscene set the tone for a gothic adventure unlike anything else on the PlayStation. The game wowed audiences with striking pixel art, an atmospheric soundtrack, and boss battles that showcased both scale and creativity. What truly set it apart, though, was its fluid controls, RPG-style leveling and equipment, and sprawling, non-linear castle that invited players to uncover its secrets. Just as players thought they had seen it all, the game unfolded in new ways, offering a scale and ambition rare for its time. Praised for its depth and artistry, it achieved a 93 on Metacritic and became the blueprint for the Metroidvania genre that would inspire decades of games to follow. In the summer of 1998, Capcom delivered what many consider the peak of its 2D fighting craft with Street Fighter Alpha 3. The game showcased solid pixel graphics and energetic music, set against vibrant backgrounds that brought each arena to life. Its classic roster of fighters returned, joined by a few new faces, and small touches like Ken catching Ryu in a headlock before a fight added personality to the lineup. Beyond arcade and versus play, its dedicated training mode gave players room to sharpen technique, while the console-exclusive World Tour mode added a layer of progression and longevity. Combined with responsive, precise controls, it struck the perfect balance between accessibility and depth. The result was a fighting game that achieved a 93 on Metacritic, standing tall as a PS1 favorite. Gran Turismo 2 arrived late in the PlayStation's life in December 1999. It catered to both arcade fans and simulation purists, letting players chase quick thrills or dive deep into technical driving with equal satisfaction. The demanding license tests challenged drivers to truly master their skill, while a massive selection of cars and tracks gave the game unmatched depth. Each vehicle could be modified and tuned to suit different styles or conditions, adding a layer of realism that kept players invested. Events spanned traditional blacktop racing and rally courses alike, all presented with visuals that were fantastic for the time. Widely praised, Gran Turismo 2 received a 93 on Metacritic, becoming the go-to racer for anyone who wanted both variety and authenticity on the PlayStation. Stealth became mainstream on the PlayStation in October 1998 when Metal Gear Solid landed on the PlayStation and changed what players expected from action games. Instead of running and gunning, players were asked to think like a spy, planning ahead, sneaking past guards, and relying on a radar that became as important as any weapon. The story leaned into political intrigue reminiscent of Tom Clancy novels, while still leaving room for Snake's sardonic wit and his undeniable charm with women. Boss encounters and set pieces kept tensions high, and the soundtrack built and released that tension with precision. Hailed as a breakthrough for stealth action, Metal Gear Solid received a 94 on Metacritic and set the template for the series to come. When Chrono Cross arrived on the PlayStation in August 2000, it immediately stood out as one of the most striking RPGs of its era. The hand-drawn backgrounds were filled with intricate details, from quiet villages to sweeping landscapes, each bursting with color. Character models carried a surprising level of polish for the hardware, giving the world a sense of vibrancy that set it apart from many of its contemporaries. The soundtrack, often hailed as one of the greatest in the medium, underscored every moment with rich, unforgettable melodies. Just as memorable was its battle system, which departed from RPG tradition and gave combat a unique flow all of its own. With critics praising its artistry, ambition, and willingness to take risks, the game secured a 94 on Metacritic, marking it as one of the most acclaimed titles of its era. Released in July 2000, Final Fantasy IX embraced a return to the series' fantasy roots. Its vibrant visuals brought kingdoms, forests, and airships to life with warmth and personality. The orchestral score captured both the intimacy of reflection and the scale of battle. The cast remains one of the most beloved in the franchise, with characters like Vivi capturing players' hearts through depth and vulnerability. Battles balanced accessibility with strategy, keeping combat engaging without dragging down the flow. The ability system, tied to equipment, encouraged experimentation and gave progression a tangible sense of growth. Critics praised its artistry and execution, and it achieved a 94 on Metacritic, standing both as a triumph in its own right and as a fitting conclusion to the PlayStation's Final Fantasy trilogy. Here's a few highly rated PS1 games that didn't quite break into the top 10.
Long enough to stay alive and to save the world. After Pearl Harbor, the United States, with all its military and industrial muscle, entered the war. First Africa, then Italy, and then finally Fortress Europe itself.
In 1998, Gran Turismo set a new bar for console racing. Where earlier racers leaned arcade, this one delivered simulation with surprising depth. Every car felt distinct thanks to a physics model that demanded precision, and the license test became both a challenge and a rite of passage. With real manufacturers, hundreds of vehicles, and deep customization, players found themselves spending hours fine-tuning setups as much as racing. The visuals impressed with their near photorealistic cars and detailed tracks, while a polished soundtrack and presentation rounded out the experience. It also offered a sense of progression rarely seen in racing games, keeping players hooked for the duration. Earning a 96 on Metacritic, it remains one of the PlayStation's landmark achievements. When Tekken 3 arrived in 1998, it raised the bar for 3D fighting on the PlayStation. The cast mixed returning names like Law and King with fresh faces, all brought to life with smooth character models and some of the sharpest animations the console had ever seen. Each fight felt fast and weighty, with punches, kicks, and combo throws delivering a real sense of impact. A wide mix of modes, spanning arcade challenges and quirky side content, gave players plenty to explore. Still, Putting yourself to test against your friends is where the game really shines. Its deep move system and flexible combat system fueling countless rematches. Critics hailed it as a pinnacle of the genre, with Tekken 3 sitting at 96 on Metacritic. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 built on the groundbreaking foundation of the first game and pushed it to new heights. Manuals were introduced, turning combos into sprawling showcases of skill and creativity that fueled a community-wide drive to link tricks endlessly. The roster of pro skaters expanded, joined by a create a skater option that gave players even more control over their style. Career mode added structure, pushing players to steadily sharpen their skills across each level. The soundtrack rocked a mix of punk and hip-hop, amplifying every grind, flip, and bail, while the responsive controls tied the experience together with unrivaled precision. Critics agreed, with the game achieving an outstanding 98 on Metacritic, making it the most critically acclaimed game on Sony's PlayStation. Hey, Mike here. Thanks for watching the video. Since you've made it this far, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. New videos are always getting released. If you're ready for more, check out the 2 links to sate your appetite. Until next time.